Hi, everyone, and welcome to Wednesday webinar, Home Upgrades, Enhancing Your ISU Canvas Space. I'm Ryan Randall from the ITRC, and along with me today are Kathy Levitt, Rick Fowler, and Mark Cooper, all of us also from the ITRC. And today, what we'll be talking about is Canvas amenities, so different things that come along with Canvas, different features that are built in. We'll also talk about a couple of add-ons that ISU provides. So those will be Atomic Assessment products and the CIDI Labs product. And then at the end, we'll also have time for Q&A. So feel free to put any questions into the Zoom chat, but otherwise we also will have Q&A towards the end of this webinar. And next, Kathy will tell us more about the Canvas amenities.
Thank you, Ryan. So I'm going to talk about 4 things that are available in Canvas that will make your life significantly easier. The first one is the Link Validator. So the Link Validator searches through your course content and returns a list of broken links that you can then go in and fix. You can run it at the beginning. You should run it at the beginning of each semester to make sure that your links are working for your course. And this is accessed through the course settings. So in the course settings, it is in this menu on the right-hand side at the bottom. Once you open that, then you will start the link validation. And then when it's done, it will give you a list of links that need to be fixed. Once those are fixed, you can restart the link validator and make sure that they have been fixed. And eventually you can just keep doing that over and over and over as many times as you want. The second thing that I want to talk about is the bulk update of so this allows you to update the due dates and the availability dates all at one time for all assignments, discussions, and assessments within your course. And this is accessed through the menu in assignments. So if you're in assignments, if you click the 3-dot menu, you'll get a drop-down menu. If you click the first one that says edit assignment dates, you will get a list of all your assignments, discussion, and assessments in your course. The due date is when you want students to turn it in. Available from is when it opens, and then available until is the cutoff date when students are no longer able to submit that assignment. The third one today is new analytics. So this provides interactive graphs and tables to track data related to student grades, submission status, weekly course activity, individual student participation, and online attendance. And this is accessed through the menu on the right side when you are in the home portion of your course. So what that looks like, when you're in home, you will notice that down here at the bottom is the new analytics. When you open that up, there are 4 different things that you can look at. You can look at your grade average, your weekly online activity, what your students are doing individually, and just some general reports. And it's not as detailed as what we had in Moodle, but it gives you still a good idea of what your students are doing. The last one is the student view, and this lets you see the student's perspective of what's going on in Canvas. So you can use your student view to post and reply to discussions and submit assignments to see what that will look like. You can then use that to view grades, people, pages, the syllabus page, quizzes, the calendar, and the scheduler. But there are some things that it does not work with, and those are listed there. I'll read them off really quickly. So the student view does not work for attendance, conferences, conversations, inbox, collaborations, differentiated assignments, external apps, groups, peer review, and profiles. You can access this at the top of your course in different places throughout. And what this will look like is you'll see a box at the top that says view a student with the little glasses. And then at the bottom, it will tell you you're viewing it as a student, and then you will be able to reset the student view or leave the student view, and you'll have that kind of magenta, purplish pink box around your window. So next, Rick is going to talk about some of our supported premium upgrades.
Thanks, Kathy. So Academic Affairs has graciously given us a few premium upgrades to Canvas to give us better use of tools and make up for some things that were in Moodle that aren't necessarily available in standard Canvas. So 2 of these are from Atomic Jolt. We have Atomic Assessments. It's a quiz creation tool that you can use. Atomic Polls lets you create polls inside of your courses. And then we also have a couple of CIDI Labs products that Mark will talk about in a bit With Design Plus, you do it in Tidy Up. So Atomic Assessments has customizable question options and settings beyond those that are built into the Canvas quizzes. Canvas has classic quizzes and new quizzes, but it doesn't necessarily cover everything that was available in Moodle. So that's why we've got this. It also integrates with Canvas Speed Grader. So for grading the quizzes, if you have essays and short answers, that will go into the Canvas Speed Grader, and it integrates with the gradebook, so you don't have to worry about trying to tie it together. And then it can also be integrated anywhere that the rich text editor is used in Canvas. So you can tie this into a page. You could set up a small quiz inside of a lesson. You could add it inside of an assignment. So it gives you a lot of different options for where you want to put that. So here's some questions, 5 great reasons should I use atomic assessments versus standard quizzes. The first one is if you want to embed an activity or assignment in a Canvas page containing other content. So again, like if you are working through a lesson and you have your list of stuff that you want students to read, and then if you wanted to ask like a quick formative question that's low stakes, then you could set up a small quiz there. To provide immediate feedback after a student answers a question. Unfortunately, with standard quizzes in Canvas, they don't get that feedback until after the entire quiz is done. So this is really good for formative questions. To allow students an option to try answering a question again after feedback is given. So if you want them to keep being able to keep trying it, especially like things with math where they could get feedback, see where they messed up and keep trying over and over, then that will be handy. To utilize various question types that aren't available in Canvas quizzes. Canvas quizzes have a lot of different options, and you can feel free to look at those. But most of the more interactive question types that were in Moodle aren't in the standard Canvas quizzes. So this is replacing those and gives us those options back. And then it also gives detailed reports about how students answered specific questions. So you will get more detailed reports than you would have if you use the standard quizzes. So these are the different question types. There's over 40 interactive question types with atomic assessments. So multiple choice, there's a bunch of different options, but one of these is a choice matrix. So you can set that up for your students to have a choice matrix where they go through in their choices. Fill in the blanks. This is where you'll find the drag and drop, a short answer, short essay, that kind of thing. So more of those interactive ones. Classify, match, sort, and order. This is handy, like if you're doing biology classes and you want students to do something like the Krebs cycle, and they have to list it in order. You can set up a question that they have to set it up in that specific order. Written and recorded, so you can have question types where they have to do an audio or video recording. You can also do essays with rich or plain text options. So like English professors might be excited to only have plain text options so that students can't be getting in there and doing copy paste with AI and that kind of thing. Highlighting, so this is where the hotspot question type has gone. So if you have like a map and you want students to choose a certain place on a map or in a picture, this is where you could do that. They can highlight things in an image. And then for STEM questions, we have specific things that they've set up. So math, they have a set of formulas that you're allowed to use. You can set up formulas really easily. And you can also set up multi-step math questions. So that isn't necessarily available inside of classic or new quizzes, but this is there inside of atomic assessments. Graphing and charting, you can have the students actually do XY graphs, number lines, plot points. All of that is available inside of there. So students can use those on inside of a quiz. Chemistry has formulas that they can do again. It has equilateral, equivalue, and is unit scoring. I don't know what that is. I'm not a chemistry instructor, but hopefully chemistry instructors know what that is and know how to use it. And then for nursing, this was the big one for the university, is it has NCLEX type questions so that nursing students who are going on to take their board exams will be able to take the same kind of questions and have those set up. And then also allows bow tie questions. So that's a good thing for, it ties in with the NCLEX. So that's helpful for nursing. Atomic polls, again, you can embed anywhere you find the rich text editor in Canvas. So this is a good way to make things more interactive and responsive in your learning. You could embed this in a discussion so that if you're teaching about something specific and you want to ask a poll about that, you could set up a poll at the bottom. Students have to fill out the poll, and then you could have them respond based on the poll. You can have multi-question polls, general or response-specific feedback options. You can set these responses in the polls to be compulsory. And again, to just follow that further down, you can set response windows so it's compulsory and it has to be created and completed by a certain time. And then there is an anonymity option. So if students feel awkward answering a question publicly, you could make it anonymous. Results and analytics, you can view the results immediately. You can reset the responses. So if you want to keep asking, like you want to go back a week later and have students answer the same poll to see if things have changed, you could just click a button and it resets the responses. You can also export the results to a CSV file so that you could have that and throw it into an Excel spreadsheet later. And you can view the participant data. And now I'm going to turn it over to Mark to talk more about CIDI Labs.
Thank you, Rick. All right, we're going to take a quick look at the CIDI Labs tool, which is an integrated application into Canvas, and specifically the Design Plus, which is one of 3 tools that are in the CIDI Labs suite. Design Plus is a powerful design toolkit that's fully enabled with Canvas. So it gives you the ability to create really visual, appealing, well-structured courses without having to be a programmer. You don't have to know HTML. So the tool kind of does all that for you. And it helps to streamline the layout of your course and maintaining consistent branding across the pages. And ultimately, it just presents a polished and professional student experience. So we previously talked about Design Plus in a webinar that we did called Home Suite Homepage, where we showed you different examples of the Canvas homepage that you can customize for your course. I also have some examples of the CIDI Labs Design Plus that I will show today. So our next page here is the how you access Design Plus. And first you need to enable Design Plus in Canvas. And I'm not going to demonstrate that today. If you would like to enable that in your course, just contact the ITRC. It's not something that automatically shows up. So you do have to perform a few steps one time to enable it. But once you do, then it's integrated in any place within Canvas that has a rich text editor. So that could be a Canvas page itself. It could be within your activities, like your assignments and quizzes, that section for instructions. Anywhere that has a rich content editor, you can access the CIDI Labs. It's a small little icon in the upper right-hand corner of your screen that you click on, and that will launch the user interface for Design Plus and really make some beautiful pages for your course. So next, I'm going to show you some examples of the Design Plus and show you a side-by-side comparison. So this is what you can create with just the out-of-box Canvas rich text editor. You can format your headers, you can have some text, you can have some images, but Design Plus kind of brings it up a notch and gives you a more polished look. You can organize content and add some branding elements. So this is an example of what we have from a drab to fab course, where it really highlights the CIDI Labs Design Plus. And you can see from this that we put in, there's a banner at the top here that has ISU branded elements, photo of the campus, some icons, but also notice the white space. And this is what's a nice feature about the Design Plus, is that it allows you to it actually adds spacing in there for white space. And that's really helpful for helping students to navigate and for the readability of your page. Now we'll talk a little bit about alternatives for the lesson and the book. So you may or may not know that if you're currently using a book in Moodle, the Moodle book or the Moodle lesson, there's not an equivalent activity or resource that's built into Canvas. However, using some creativity with the pages and some design elements from the Design Plus, you can mimic that or add some other elements that with the engagement of your course. So design elements like you'll be able to organize your content into clean interactive sections. You'll be able to break up content, long scrolling content to mimic that textbook structure. And then it'll also enhance the navigation and readability of your course. So in this example, I'm going to show you, again, here is what you see in Canvas, just out of the box, and what you can create in a Canvas page. And then you can see over here, I used the tabs, and that's one of the features of the CIDI Labs Design Plus, is you can add a tab element to your page. So you could see that, again, we have the banner here at the top that shows the ISU colors in a more engaging way. I have some content on the screen, but then towards the latter part of the screen, I added tabs. And this is how you can break up your content so that your students aren't doing the scroll of death down the page, and by adding tabs that they can click on to see the different examples. And also, let's talk a little bit about the expander. Expander or accordion, you might be familiar with that terminology of how that looks on a web page. You can also do that in Design Plus. So here is the scroll of death page from the Canvas out of the box with a rich content editor. And here is how it looks when we took it over and put it into an accordion, or what Design Plus calls the expander feature. So again, you can see that I had the banner at the top, my text, but then the latter part of this screen, we broke it up into the accordion, where you click on it, it expands it, you click on it again, and it retracts it. And you can go through each of these three examples, and that helps to shorten the text, the on-screen text. And then you can also see how we utilized dividers and some spacing to give you that white space. And again, that's to help with the readability of the page. So that's one of the tools, Design Plus, but there are two others that come with the application. And the first one is called UDOIT Advantage, which is a accessibility checker. So this will scan your course, and for accessibility issues, it'll identify those accessibility issues for you so that you can go in and you can improve those. And then there's Tidy Up, and Tidy Up is another tool that this identifies any unused or outdated content. And after teaching it year over year, year after year, you might accumulate some content, some videos, some things that you no longer use. This will help identify that content and organize it, so you can either delete it or choose to use it. And so the outcome of using these two tools is you get a course that's more accessible, efficient, and student-friendly. So now I'm going to turn it over to Ryan, who will facilitate our question and answer.
Great, thanks, Mark. So does anybody who's here today have questions for us? You can either ask aloud or put them in the chat. So thank you all for joining us today. And if you want to learn more, you could use the QR code that's in the top right. That will take you to a clickable version of these same slides. We have a collection of Tiger Tracks articles, which you can access anytime, day or night, when you're working on a course, and that will help walk you through different steps of things you might want to do. We also have a video library on YouTube of webinars exactly like this one that you can watch whenever you would like. For the rest of this semester, in spring 2025, we're going to have Wednesday webinars at 2 p.m. each Wednesday. So that third link will take you to the schedule for those. When you want to meet with us to follow up, you can email us at itrc@isu.edu. That email goes to all of us, so it's the fastest way to get a response. You can also call us. Our group phone number is 208-282-5880. And we no longer have, for the moment, we don't have the ability to have visitors drop in and meet with us in person. So we're no longer in the basement of Oboler Library in Pocatello. We're moving. So for the next few weeks, at the end of spring semester 2025, all of our appointments are going to be via Zoom or over the phone, but that third link will let you reserve those appointments with us. And finally, for future Wednesday webinars, watch Idaho State Today. We'll be announcing them there. And also make sure to check and bookmark the ISU Canvas transition website if you haven't already. That's where all of the information about our campus's transition to Canvas will come out. So thank you all for joining us, and we look forward to working with you.